How's it going? Dave and Comic Book Investments. So got some stuff back from CGC. I like to go through it once a week, show you stuff I got back in. I get more than this, but this is just a few things I want to talk about. Everything, of course, is on our website, collectorscomics.com. And if you don't know already, we are running an auction. Yes, an auction. It is almost over. I believe it has 4 days left. Ends on Tuesday and Wednesday. And we got a ton of good stuff in there. You know, we got like giant size X-Men #1s. We got an all winners one. Yes, old Golden Age stuff. We got the first Veronica Lodge from Archie, Peps 26. That's a tough book to get. We also have a Turtles #1 first print signed by Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman, and has drawings all over it of the Turtles. Very cool stuff. But yeah, this is where I like to go through some stuff, find some interesting books, talk about them. Maybe it'll pop in my head a funny story or maybe some interesting insight that you guys didn't know about, and I can help you guys learn. And I just kind of talk about whatever's going on. All right, so first up, we got an Action #1. Yes, an Action #1. No, this is the reprint from 1976. This one came back the grade I was hoping. 285. There's two things. Interesting thing about this. There's the Safeguard, which has deodorant on the back, and there's also the sleeping bag one, which is much more rare. So we'll have the sleeping bag. I believe they're the same time as well. They're released the same date, which is 1976. Funny thing though, if you think about it, there was no internet back then. So if you were a kid, how could you ever read the first Action? You'd have to wait for it to come out on a reprint. And I think this was the first reprint, like official reprint. I think they had these oversized ones, but one that was more smaller. Funny story. So if you don't know about the oversized ones, they're like, I think they're called like famous something, and they're like that big. They're pretty big. And what happens is it looks identical, but then above it has like this yellow outline, and it says famous something. I can't remember. It's been so long. And what would happen would people would cut the yellow border out, and so it would look like the real comic because you had this yellow border. You just cut it off. And I remember my dad going, and this was probably in the 90s. He he goes to meet this guy at a bank because he calls him up because I have an Action #1. And he's like, he's going to offer him like, I don't know, it's like $20,000 back then, which seems like nothing compared to that they go for millions. But I'm trying to remember the story. But he goes there, meets the guy at the bank. The guy, this is the way my dad put it. The guy brought his girlfriend. He thought he was going to have all this money and stuff, like showboating. He pulls it out, and my dad kind of laughs to himself and goes, I'm sorry, this is a reprint. And the guy was like, what are you talking about? He gets all mad. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy it from you. And the guy was like, you're trying to scam me or something? He's like, no, I don't. And the reason why you meet at a bank is because it's easy to exchange money back then. Like, how else are you going to do that? Walk around with a bunch of money, I guess. But yeah, that was a funny story. Moving on. We got Giant Size Avengers #4. This is Wanda and Vision's wedding. But the interesting thing about this is a double cover. Yes, a double cover, giant size, when they glued the inside. So it's super rare to find something like this. I thought it'd be an 8.0, but it's 7.5, $249. So not too bad for a double cover. Quite rare because here's the thing. With a double cover on these types of books is they're not stapled. The book itself is stapled inside, but the cover is glued on the spine. Now with a double cover, the thing is, this top cover isn't even glued to it, because just the one cover is glued to it, but the second cover is put over it. And you might think, oh, it's a married cover, but it's actually not, because it matches up perfectly. And if you don't know what a married cover is where, say I have this book right here and I have a very nice cover, but the inside's all crappy. Or vice versa. I have, outside cover that's crappy, but the inside's good. I would take the cover from this one and put it on the other one. But that gets a qualified label because it's not the original cover. Kind of like the Ultimate Fallout 4 variant acetate cover. That's not the original cover, it's just something put on it. So it should be a green label. CBCS has come out and said that the way they're going to grade it is they're going to give it qualified because it's not the original cover. And on top of that, since they had to put in extra staples to adhere it to the inside book, the normal book, they're going to grade it as if it has extra staple holes, which downgrades it. So I'm hoping CGC follows suit. Why they started giving those things 10.0s and 9.9s is beyond me. I think it's stupid. I think, could there have been some shady business going on? Not with CGC as a whole, but maybe a grader. Whoever was grading it maybe was in, I don't know, in cahoots with Black Flag Comics, or just something was going on there. Getting a 10.0. I know someone posted, was it Stray Dogs #1 acetate cover, I think it was. And there's like 120 that submitted, and all came back like 9.8 or something like that. Or I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head. Maybe it was 80 or 70 that were submitted. And it had an acetate cover. But then, of course, what's that guy's coming? It's Ultimate Fallout 4. That had like one 10.0 and a couple 9.9s. But he's also releasing this Black Flag Comics. This is outrageous. This is so dumb. All right, sorry, I'm going to go on a rant right now. All right. So after all the pushback, Black Flag Comics decided, what's the best course of action? People are mad about this thing. I know, I'm going to double down on it. So you know what he's doing? His next Comic-Con, which I think is this weekend in Boston, before people got upset because the influencers cut the line and went ahead. And so now what he's doing is he's having two lines. He's having a line for influencers and whatever that means, and then a line for normal people. The influencer line, they get it at $100 per comic, and they can buy up to 10 copies. But if you're in the normal, terrible person line, right, you only get one comic, and it starts off at $125 plus, meaning as they start selling out, it's going to raise in price. On top of that, he said out of the 350 print run, 250 will be for content creators and influencers, and only 100 for normal, peons, peasants. They only get 100, and once they're out, right? So I'm like, so you're telling me that the average person has to wait in line much longer, and it's $125 to start, and then if you're in the back line and you happen to get one, it could be like $150 by the time you get there. But then influencers, they can get like 10 a piece at $100, and then that person waiting in line that never got one of the peasants and normal people, they have to go on Whatnot or wherever these influencers are selling them, and then they have to pay 3 times the price. Oh, $300. I don't know. That to me is insane. I just find that wrong on so many levels. I mean, so what if you're like a halfway influencer, or you're an influencer, but you're not influential? Do you only get 5 copies then? 2? 1? None? You have to pay twice as much? Oh, God. So, yeah, I find that absurd and dumb. And here's the thing. They're going to continue to do it as long as they keep making money. So the time they stop making money, they'll stop doing it. So as long as you guys out there are paying these prices for them, they're going to keep doing it. Why stop? Because, yeah, you could have like 1,000 people complaining online, but then in their mind, they're like, well, they keep selling out, so people actually like them. So who's to say? Who's to say? I mean, once CGC cracks down, I'm hoping they do, and says like, look, these aren't recognized by Marvel, so they're not real variants, and we're going to give them a green label. Then I think people will stop, because don't buy them. Hulk 212, because they're going to go down in value. They're not going to be worth anything in the future. Thought it'd be 9.4, got 9.6, so happy there at 179. Sorry about that rant. I just had to let you guys know how I feel about the whole Black Flag thing. I personally wouldn't do that, but that's his choice. What is this? Hulk 449. First Thunderbolts. Thought it'd be 9.4 to kind of 9.6. Oh yeah, that's what I have to say. I got one, this batch right here. Now I've been knocking out moderns. This was graded super fast. I think I sent this out in like April or May or something like that, and got this back, even though I still have other moderns from like back in like November sitting there. So I don't know what CGC, I don't know how their system is. They must have a terrible system, because literally I got this back in like a few months, but I literally have other moderns sitting there for the last like 7 months. It's like, should you be grading those? I don't know. But anyways, this new graded one was pretty good. But I also got a batch back from like 9 months ago at the same time as this one, and they were all graded terribly. So don't know if they fixed the problem because the new stuff is better, but who knows? All right. No, I'm moving on from here. Did I tell you the price? $249. People are always like, you never said the price. I always forget. All right, Invaders number 1. Came back the rate I thought, $189. These turtles did not come back the rate I was hoping. You know, this is the only turtles that didn't have a second printing up at this point because the creator, Dave Sims, who makes Cerebus, said, I refuse to have another printing. So this was actually the highest printed turtles of all time, right here. Highest printed, number 8, because all the other ones, they would have a lower print run initially, but they would do second printings. So they overprinted this because they knew they weren't going to be able to do a second, third, and fourth printing, which all Turtles comics up until this point had multiple printings. $30. I thought all these would come back a 9.8. They all came back 9.0s. And I had like 5 of them. So wasn't happy there. Rogue joins the X-Men. What is this? 171. Thought I'd be a 9.8, got a 9.4. So not happy there. $59. I would say most of them came back the grade I was hoping for or better. All right, X-Men 137. Thought it'd be 9.6, got a 9.6. $199. All right, this one, if you guys watched the video I did a few days ago on how to return, if you get a cracked case, how to return it. A lot of people ask me, it's like, oh, I bought a cracked case. Can I return it then? I'm like, I don't think so. I think what they do, because what they do is they ask for your name and address and all that kind of stuff in your ID, and then you have to put in the serial number. Well, the serial number is linked to you. So if I just bought a book from some random person on eBay and it had a crack in it, then I type it in, it would be like, you never submitted this book. Now, could you had it in your possession for like 3 months and then dropped it by accident and cracked it, and you were the one that submitted it, and then you open up a case saying like, hey, it arrived cracked? I'm sure you could do that. Yeah, because I had ones that were cracked and I had them like sitting in a box for a long time, and I hadn't gone through them in a while, and it was probably multiple months old, because then when I took it out, I was like, oh, it's cracked, I'll get to it later, and I put it on my desk, and then I never got to it for a while. But I eventually, I think it was probably like 6 months, or not 6 months, it was like 3 months since I got it in, and I was able to return it just fine and fix it. So there's that. Batman Dark Knight Returns, number 1, came back the grade I was hoping for, had a cracked case in it. This, actually, I take that back. This one did not have a cracked case, but I resubmitted it because this was the Dark Knight Returns from like, I don't know, it was like the one from 2000 something. It was the wrong label, so they fixed that. $349. This one was a cracked case. Fans for $67. $459. This one wasn't a cracked case. This one was weird. This one, the inner sleeve was cut weird and it was hanging out. So the little like inner sleeve was like hanging out the side. And I tried to like straighten it out, couldn't. It was just cut weird. Came back the grade I wanted. This is $415. This is the limited edition, so it's not like the original. This book got a whole bunch of these. I bought like 50 of these books. 50. Yeah, it was like 50. I sent, I think, 30 or 40 into CGC, all ranging from grades 9.4 to 9.8. Where's this book? This is listed for $79. I still think this is, I put this on my list multiple times. I still think this is a good deal. Second appearance of Deadpool. First appearance of Weapon X. I don't think that's, no one cares. But Second appearance of Deadpool. Andy's on the cover. I still think that's an undervalued book, in my opinion. My opinion. But yeah, $79 for a 9.8. I think my 9.4s are like $30, basically case cost. Young Avengers. This book has been nosediving. Came back the grade I wanted, $1.99. And last book on here is a She-Hulk. It's where I always wanted to, John Byrne. I don't know. Someone will correct me. Is it John Bryan or John Byrne? I don't know. Someone will get mad at me for not pronouncing his name correctly. Where am I? Sensational She-Hulk number 40. Came back great. I was hoping for $4.79. Yeah, he makes her. This is like he was like goofing around when he'd write her, and that's why they broke the fourth wall. He was in it multiple times. Makes her jump rope, and you think she's naked, but she's not naked. I had the comics code up here. Yeah, right there. There's no way they could put a naked She-Hulk in there. That is pretty much it. Like I said, go visit our website, collectorscomics.com. All these will be up there for sale, along with a bunch of others. You can sort through newest and check out our auction. If you're not going to, if you don't want to or can't buy anything in this auction, at least just look at it. Tell me what you think. All right, have a great day.